Is a viewer submission like a lot of the decks that we play on stream, and I like the look of what this deck is doing a lot. So the two champions in here are format staples for sure, but they're not ones that we often see together, which actually seems kind of strange to me because they have really decent synergy together. So Fiora is a challenger unit for 3, then when she kills 2 enemies she's leveled, and then her leveled mode is an alternate win count. When she's killed 4+ things and survived, you win the game outright. And we pair this with Ashe, who when Ashe attacks, she frostbites the strongest enemy, which sets its attack power to 0. So Ashe creates lots of things that are easy kills for Fiora to pick up and survive. When you frostbitten 5+ things with Ashe, she levels up and gives you a crystal arrow. And then her leveled mode says enemies with 0 power can't block. So leveled Ashe creates kind of these pseudo combo board states herself, where you pair her attack along with things like flash freeze and harsh winds to suddenly wipe all the power off your opponent's board and punch through. Another really sweet Demacia card that has synergy with Frostbites is Cythria the Bold, who incidentally gives your stuff fearsome outside of herself. So this paired with Ashe, if Ashe isn't leveled yet, is another way to give your units evasion past the things that Ashe is shrinking, which seems sweet again. You've also got some other cheaper tools in here like Tracker, Ice Veil Archer, Interaction like Sharp Sight, and Single Combat. I have to say I absolutely love the inclusion of Egghead Researcher. I love that this card is getting more play. Just a 1/3 for 2 is such a reasonably statted body to have, and most of the random dragons generate you great card advantage or just good bodies. The absolute best dragon to generate with this frequently is Eclipse Dragon, because then Eclipse Dragon generates you even more value, but even on average, Egghead Researcher is really sweet. So let's go ahead and dive on into some games here with this and see how it feels today. Yeah, I think Egghead was super underrated when it first came out. I'm full mulliganing here, just looking for the bottom end of our curve. Touch awkward. I did not realize that the elephant Dorko portals around. Might have to get that one. There's so many good cards for Egghead to generate. Alright, would love a Fiora next turn.
Let's get to
I'm just gaining 2 because I don't have anything else to do with my mana this turn. I don't really want to burn it. A lot of expensive cards in my hand, so I want to use some of them while the getting is good. Guillotine does not care about barrier, that is correct. Hey, Sleepy Dog, thank you for the brand new Prime support. I know there's a ton of great people making a ton of great stuff on Twitch right now. Thanks for shipping your Basil bucks this way this month and keeping me around. There's the man, the myth, the legend, chat. You love to see it. From his pocket to yours. That's okay, he won't miss it. He's got plenty. Don't open attacks me. It's the one thing I asked you not to do, opponent.
not the egg. Wings before. Aren't any gods here? Just me.
Oh gosh, Jack the winner. That's not one you often see in the opponent's rotate. Hey, Pop. Thanks for the 7 months. I appreciate you repping the Prime. Welcome back.
Lock the doors.
I think I'm just opening attacks, seeing what they do. So this is why I like opening, because now I can go flash freeze single combat and get blown out by vengeance. I mean, stop the sleep with the fishes from dealing 2 damage to us. Hopefully, if they're playing more aggressive cards like Jack, they're giving up top end like vengeance. Okay, sweet. So we're losing our Fury trigger, but we're not taking 2 and they lost their thing. So I think that can be considered a win for us. Definitely feels like we're behind either way because of their elusive threat here. We should probably start packing up here.
If I kill you, I don't fortune.
Stupid.
Didn't know the boss had said you.
Don't know much, do ya?
Not and ready.
Yeah, I'm not sure we're gonna have the bandwidth to beat up Pack Your Bags this game. Card's still just very good against unit-based decks.
Let's get to it. My life for Avarosa. Back later.
I'm not gonna play around pack happening here and killing us for 6 because we're not beating losing our board anyway, so there's no point in playing around it. Hey, Lost In, thanks for the Prime. I really appreciate it. Welcome back.
Bring me the calm of an ice-shrouded world. Sends chills up my spine.
It's a long path to get here.
So we have 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Gosh, we're so close to lethal. Miss it. Gonna miss it by this much. Yeah, I like the direction the opponents take in the archetype that they're playing. Jax and the Doom Beast. Doom Beast were something that we saw in earlier builds, but kind of fell out of favor as the archetype refined a little bit more. Great. If we can dodge a lethal pack the bags, we can dodge a ball chip. Yeah, that means Doom Beast is lethal.
I'll have a break.
That'll do big. I like their build a lot. Like a good direction to take it in. Back your bags is a little bit worse as a control tool with the change to its mana cost, but it's still fine as like an aggressive top end, right? All right, Fiora, are you going to lose us Heimer's points? Or are you going to let us tread water? Let's find out here. Nightfall, deck with a lot of little units. Good for our Gale. Our hand was super awkward to start that game too. Like we mulliganed looking for cheap things, just didn't find any. This hand is great, right? 1, 2, 3. It's just curvamentary. What could it be? Okay, Eclipse Dragon is probably pretty decent here. Their deck is has a somewhat aggressive slant sometimes. Obviously not this game, but it can also go long a little bit. So having Eclipse Dragon here to go long with sounds lovely. They're playing actual factual super cool star chart as a Nightfall enabler. Interesting. What are they gonna play here? Like a 2/3 elusive? Doom Beast, maybe?
Mother Moon
Hot on the trail.
I think I'm okay running into Pale Cascade here. I think that's a reasonable exchange of that card for us.
Fear not death.
Where's the Curve of Entry song from? You know, I honestly don't know. It's some kind of short jingle thing. I've heard so many things over the years, they just roll off at this point. Drawing the 5/5 on turn 4. Nothing but professionalism in this stream chat. I know you expect nothing less from me. Those of you at home taking notes, working on getting to Masters, draw your 5/5s on turn 4. Definitely does not hurt.
Raise your weapons, Sunwood.
Invisible to the ignorant. Whatever the cost.
Yeah, I agree that we want a Sharp Sight and elusive here. I think we put this here, and we put this here, and then next turn this can hook into here. The old Moon Sliver Pale Cascade Blowout. A tried and true classic. Come on, eat my Yeti. You know you want to. Yip, yip, yip. Yip, yip, yip. That's fine. We're in a pretty prime spot to go long here with the Eclipse Dragon, so I think getting trades here that trade the board down seem fine for us. This is a great
All
draw.
the world on one arrow.
It's interesting that the animation only shows 3 cards here, even though they're looking at 4 with Stalking Shadows. I wonder if they only have 3 units. Maybe they have their choice of 3 units here. I'll have to pay attention when other Stalking Shadows get cast. How many it shows in the middle. It's interesting that they're playing Super Cool Star Chart in addition to Stalking Shadows. I feel like Stalking Shadows is much better. It just felt like they needed even more Nightfall enablers. Could be like a 1-2 of Star Chart in addition to Stalking. So with that play, we go ahead and eat this turn, so it's going to be free eats. I've seen it show 1 or 2. It does show how many choices they have. That's interesting. So what's our best generation here? Probably the 4/4 for 4.
Dragons, such fascinating creatures.
Sure. I don't know if we're gonna see like Nocturne or something come down here to try and deal with Ashe. Just more doggos. Doggo, doggo, doggo. Could still have Nocturne, I suppose. We need to kill Nocturne, right?
As the arrow flies.
I'll follow where I can.
Down to 7. Hopefully this means we don't die next turn and then we can kill them the following turn we get set up with. Ideally, I want to draw something here that I can play Harsh Winds and whatever the new thing is at the same time. If they don't make us play Harsh Winds, we get to develop the board. That'll be in a great spot.
Find your path in the dark and follow no false light. By the moon's crescent blade.
That is perfect. The second copy of Super Star Chart. That'll do, dragon. That'll do.
Tidings from the sky.
This is my 4/5. There are many like it, but this one is mine. Notable that Ashe here is permanently vulnerable. We'll be able to hook her with something again this turn. Harsh Winds will keep her alive. We'll probably Cythria and smash next turn. Want to ideally make sure we don't die to Atrocity, if possible. That's something we want to be counting to try and play around, if we have the agency to.
Cygnus, how I missed your light.
Thank the mother you're all right. What have you learned?
Whatever the cost.
Huh? So if I save Ashe, I can't play around Atrocity. I think I'm supposed to play around Atrocity. Oh, Ashe is leveling. JK LOL. We get to have our cake and eat it too. That was actually a test chat and some of you failed to do better. I knew what was gonna happen there. Definitely calculated, yep. I think we open on Cithria, right?
And a long path to get you.
Yeah, Atrocity is how we lose this game, right? Just want to like try and not die to that. I didn't fail because I didn't type quickly enough. Big mood. Ice, baby. Be-do-do-do-do-do-do. Crystal Arrow. Frostbite's the target and everything else with 3 health or less, which is all of it, actually.
The war is over. Now we rebuild.
We're below 1500 Harlequin. I also changed how I'm displaying it on stream, so we're not quite that far below it, but we are solidly under it, and it's gonna drop more in the next day or two when more sub gifts fall off. I don't even know what I'm looking for here. I think it's just Fiora. Iceveil Archer's probably fine, actually, because it can freeze a Zoe on too. Stop her from getting a thing. My plan for subtracking moving forward is to just have a ticker that resets to 0 at the start of every month and have it count up, instead of having it being a rolling tally where things are constantly falling off and getting added. There's some genuinely good and interesting designs in there, Burden of Proof. I think one of the things I'm going to make an effort to do while we do magic stuff, when we go back to it, is I'm going to make an effort not to talk and complain specifically about Wizards' business practices and the quality of the software that Magic Arena is, because those things haven't changed, right? Like Wizards, Magic's still a company that has a ton of predatory business practices, and that's not about to change. Arena is still the mediocre software that it is. I'm going to do my best to try and maintain a positive outlook and focus on just the actual gameplay. I'd rather ice this, or would I rather play Trapper? I'm gonna Trapper. I think that pushed a little bit more damage. I guess I could have done this. Jericho, thanks for the follow. Welcome to the channel.
Bask in her radiant blessing.
Hot on the train.
In all honesty, like I've said before in the past, if we go back and do some Magic stuff and my metrics don't bump back up or it ends up not being fun, I don't intend to like slog through and play a game that I don't enjoy. I intend to give it a genuine chance on Thursday with an open mind, and if it's not fun, I'm not going to do it consistently. Content. Generally speaking... Thanks, Jeff. I appreciate the prime. Generally speaking, watching someone do stuff on Twitch and in terms of a game that they don't enjoy isn't good content. I'm not an exception to that.
And here's where I'd paint my constellation.
Can't be.
Paint your feelings.
I think I want to save my 2-1 here. Pretty sure... Oh, that's a decent draw. Let's see, I'm pretty sure I want to open attacks, but Screeching Dragon might change that. If I play Screeching Dragon and then they play the 5-4, I guess Dragon just eats this, so that's still fine. Push a little bit less damage, but... I think on Thursday for Magic stuff, I think I plan to play Black-White Clerics and Green-Black mid-range decks. What's the issue with the software? It just hasn't really had any fixes or improvements. And I haven't launched Arena in 4 months, but the last time I had launched it, it kept getting progressively slower and more laggy with each patch that they put out. Magic only rotates in the fall, so Embercleave's legal till October.
The more we learn, the less we fear.
Stats gonna eat my 3-1. I think I'm just gonna pass here because I don't want to play Ashe and then have them have like a Sharpsight or a Pale Cascade to attack and hook into Ashe. This could get them to pass back here instead of eating my 3-1 if they're thinking about like what I have. Like they know we're an Ashe deck, right? Or technically burning 2 of my mana to pass back here.
Follow the tracks.
Yeah.
Channel our power.
Alright, opponent was expecting that to undo Frostbite and not. Yeah, I think they were expecting that to have Challenger and Lifesteal there. Because Hushing does undo Frostbite. Like, it got its attacks back. I think in their head, they thought they were going to get the Challenger and the Lifesteal. October, that's not a real one. Yeah, stuff like most of us have been there before. You, like, talk through a couple of different lines, your timer's ticking down. And stuff like that is, like, why when people get elitist and talk about Masters being different than Platinum and Diamond and even Gold and Silver in a lot of ways, mistakes happen everywhere. And there's like, the easiest way to point that out is just like, so many people when they're playing Runeterra are just distracted while they're playing, right? Like, how often are you playing Runeterra and it's the only thing you're doing? You're frequently watching a show or a stream, or you have family in the background. Like, there's plenty of mistakes that happen at every level. There isn't some big pure place where you get to this point and suddenly all the players there are playing at perfection. Yeah, I agree, Shuri. There's a few people in the community that like when you talk about the mobalytics data, they get all uppity about the fact that the mobalytics data is based on platinum, diamond, and masters instead of just masters. And the reality is, part of the reason why it's based on all three of those is because you just don't have big enough sample sizes in just masters for a lot of these things. And in a functional standpoint, masters versus platinum versus diamond, they're about the same from a data standpoint. And that's not something that's unique to Runeterra. As when I traveled to play Magic the Gathering professionally for many years, I played on one of the open circuits run by a third-party tournament organizer, Star City Games, because their tournaments were more profitable on average for me to play in terms of the amount of cash that they paid out. And there were a lot of elitists in the Magic community that were like, no, only the tournaments run by Wizards of the Coast really count, and that's the B-list tournament series where worst players play. And it's like, oh, I'm just playing in it because the money is better. But a lot of people have this mentality where they can't build themselves up without putting other people down. So in order to validate their decision to play on the tournament series that paid out worse money, objectively speaking, they had to put down the other one. What's up, youngest son? I am not installing another mobile game for you. You've installed double-digit mobile games the last day. Play one of the ones you've already installed. New rule. You can install one new game per day. I don't know if you can make out the look of disgust on his face when I told him that, but it was there. It was pure eye roll disgust. I am basically a monster, chat. Only one new freemium game per day. I don't care in general that he plays freemium games. He just like needs to like play something for more than 30 seconds before he wants to swap to something else, in my opinion. Because the way, for people that haven't played freemium mobile games, the way they monetize is they advertise other freemium products for the most part. So like, he'll be playing one of the games and an ad will pop up for a different game. And like, he'll just stop and want to click off into the next one. Dad, I've collected reviews from 7 different sources. This is the game I'd like to download today. Yep. It's kind of funny, like, seeing how different my two kids are in their gaming habits, too. Because my older son, Jacob, he'll sit there and play a game for hours. Like, I think he came close to logging double digits worth of hours on Bloons when I installed that for him in, like, 3 days. He just dove into it for the weekend. Yeah, it looked pretty good. I was watching Day 9 play it, and Jake walked into the room and was like, I want to play that. I was like, sure. It's like $5. One of the nice things about having a Google Family account is if I buy balloons on my account, both the kids can have it on their individual devices at the same time, which is great. I think we play Ashe here because we still have enough mana to riposte. Yeah, I had a Game Boy Color with exactly Pokemon Red as a child. Needless to say, there were hundreds of hours of Pokemon Red played. My parents were not big on video games. Only hundreds. To be fair, it's like tough. I think it's kind of tough to get more than hundreds of hours of content out of those games. Part of me is afraid to recover. Part of me is afraid to recover the login to some of my old MMO accounts I played as a teenager and discover how many hours I played on those. Can't even imagine. I did. It was a mistake. I don't think I'd ever play them again. But part of me has a morbid curiosity to know how much time past Jeff spent on it. I don't do 24-hour streams anymore. We might play some Pokemon Snap when it comes out.
The time is right. Strike now. Two down.
I recently found out I put 1,000 hours into Fortnite in almost a year when it was new, and I was shook. That's a lot of hours. Yeah, and like this is like the Fiora gameplay, right? Like now my opponent just like can't play units for the rest of the game. I really hope they redesign her a little bit. We talked about this earlier. I think changing her to, instead of winning the game outright, just having her deal like 10 Nexus damage would really be ideal. Something that's not just like, okay, you're dead outright. Where she's still reasonable and does a cool thing, but having her deal a bunch of damage would mean you get to keep all the animations too, because it still goes up to 4.
Find your own light within the darkness.
Fiora and Lee Sin are the two chief feels bad cards in this game. Sure, you can even have her do something positive for you, yeah. For everything else that you have, I don't hate that.
Face your heretic.
So this is gonna level here. They should definitely hook this last. So this is a mistake on my opponent's part. Because, now, when I have a Frostbite here, my Fiora is going to win the game before the rest of their stuff happens. They definitely should hook her last, in case I have a thing like this. Oh, does the eye not show me winning via Fiora? That's interesting.
A worthy opponent.
Moonlight guide me.
I mean, she's still basically an alt win con. She's still basically an alt win con with like a deal 10. It's very similar. Like, if you think about, like, even that game, right? Like, if Fiora was a deal 10 there, like, yeah, and that's what it does. Making Fiora deal Nexus damage largely would hamstring the, like, all-in Fiora deck. Sure, I don't really buy into that kind of stuff, though. I think the negative feelings she elicits now are far worse than the positive ones. Where does climbing come from? Not Viheimer, Zoeheimer. Zoeheimer gained us a bunch of ladder points because it's great. And Zoeheimer was featured on my highlights channel today. If you haven't seen that one before, then I'll have another video segment up on my general channel tonight. You go. Yup ago. Thanks for the follow. Welcome to the channel. Zoeheimer, a direct attack on my wildcard reserves. I'm gonna keep Trapper as an okay early play. Gonna mulligan looking for some Frostblights against Misfortune Quinn for sure, though. People like alt win cons are valid, probably. I don't know. That's like saying people who like Wasteland are valid. I wouldn't want that kind of card to Runeterra. You're correct in that, like, sure, that's technically a type of gameplay, but like for every while different strokes for different folks or like different play pattern enjoyment is subjective, there's definitely a give and take in terms of this gameplay pattern that a specific type of person enjoys negatively impacts others more on average. Hey, M-Tuck, thanks for upping that prime. I appreciate it. Welcome back. There's that, okay, how many people enjoy this versus... Yeah, I actually think Maokai is a phenomenal example of how to correctly do an alt win con, because Maokai specifically does not end the game instantly when he pops off. He puts the game into a very real, okay, you have this window to still close after I happen, but it's not just done. I think from a game design perspective, I love Maokai. Again, taking notes for those at home, cleverly drawing the Enraged Jetty on turn 4 here. Skillfully even. Yeah, the Maokai is easy to see happening too, and you know when to expect it consistently. It is. Someone asked a second ago, where did our ladder points come from? Drawing Yeti on turn 4 is definitely where some of them came from. Yeah, some more hidden information style mechanics could be neat for sure. Got me. I think we're just opening attacks for 8, right?
Hot on the trail.
Hot on the trail. And like, Ice Veil plus Riposte should mostly neutralize the Ren Plazas next turn.
I'll defend these forests to the end.
A chill in the air.
It honestly might be right to just riposte here, rather than like let this happen and then riposte it. I get to play Yeti plus Fiora this turn.
Save your worlds. We speak with blades.
They speak with blades. I let on Fiora because if they have another Valor, they'll play Valor here to hook her and then I can riposte it. But if they don't play Valor in this instance, they just pass back. We'll play Yeti and have good open attacks.
Honor guide me. Your move.
They can also do that for some reason. Okie doke. Freezes are really good against Bossa. This deck's like I love the theory behind what this deck is doing. It feels like the cards it's playing and the game plan it's trying to execute are very reasonable into what people are playing in the current format. Easy full mulligan here. Looking for our 1s, 2s, and 3s. Young avocado. Oh, welcome to Oglandia. Gilberto, good afternoon. I appreciate my opponent also using the ice board with their Ashe deck. See if we can continue, continue drawing our Yetis on 4.
A true Freljordian welcome.
Never lucky, chat. Perpetually unlucky.
Joke the bait. Over them. Tread carefully.
I think I'm happy just trading these off. Theo 25. Good afternoon, welcome. I'm gonna lead on Screecher in the hope that they pass and we get to burn their mana.
The War Mother will unite us all.
I think we just pass here. I don't think I want to run this into here with the potential for Frostbite and Troll Chant here.
Knocked and ready. A true Freljordian welcome.
And you get an icicle, and you get an icicle. Everybody gets an icicle. Hey, look, a distraction. I'm pretty happy if they want to try and challenge my dragon here. This feels like a net positive for us. This gives him enough attack to kill the Hearthguard next turn without a pump spell. Exchange feels like it went well for us. Okay. We're ahead on board, but all of their units are bigger than ours. We go ahead and ice fail their 5 attack thing here. Try and make our Dargon bigger. Trying to position ourselves to have lethal next turn. Next attack token, I guess I should say. Not on their turn, obviously. An okay hit.
They're coming! Hi!
I think it's important that I kill this. It's gonna go back to being a 5/5 otherwise. Our opponent's deck is very pretty. Nice. I would like a dragon that I can play with 6 mana.
Such fascinating creatures. What time is it?
What's up, bud?
It's done working.
How long till I'm done working? I'll be done in a little bit, but remember, I said we could play together tonight after dinner, okay?
It's just an egg.
Well, dinner's not for a few hours, bud.
Oh.
Easy pass here. They want to attack in. This flash freeze is great. Ooh, speaking of great, I think she's actually just worse than this, huh? I'll play the elusive out.
Hey, who's the Red Dragon?
It is an elusive drag. You see the smoke on it? Means it's hard to block. Yep.
What hard to block means?
It means they can't get in front of it in combat.
What happens?
Think I'm gonna hook.
You get blood out of it.
If they get in front of it, they don't get hit by it.
Oh, why? I mean,
It's kind of like being invisible. Yeah, it's like how a ninja is sneaky. It's a sneaky dragon.
Ninja Dragon.
It's kind of hiding in the clouds, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, dragons have different color. The dragons have different color, but just change. Some dragons change their color, so the dragon will be hard to find.
Some dragons can change colors and be hard to find, I bet. Yep. I think I need to hold this freeze for whatever they Kato next turn, as opposed to playing it aggressively to save my Yeti.
Wait, a jungle dragon.
It's a great draw.
Coconut dragon.
A coconut dragon.
Yeah, I will.
You reign over.
Get down. Get down.
Put the lime in the coconut and drink it all up.
Every time they drink all the coconut.
Face me.
The coconut get your butt.
This could potentially be a very lethal turn with Katarina. Thankfully, I've got some ice for the miss.
Why? Get
I'll
up.
do it myself.
Final claw.
Show me.
Final claw.
Can you say ice, baby? Ice, baby. Do 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 do.
My
Dumb bad baby guy. Thank you.
Yes, we're going to be freezing Cat this turn.
We go. And go. What? I'm gonna be good.
Okay, so I think we block
no backing down.
like this, and then we'll freeze these 3 here is the plan.
These are our lands.
Think I want to just do this in case they have a trick. I guess they probably don't have a way to pump power, huh? I'm probably supposed to save this. Okay, so we freeze this one. Or do I freeze this and keep my elusive alive?
How
I probably don't need the elusive.
you elusive now?
You want me to keep the elusive?
Yep.
Yeah, let's keep the
Time is
elusive.
right. Strike
Clever. Clever.
This gives us Crystal Arrow next turn too, so we'll be able to freeze a bunch of the stuff with that.
So arrow. Gold arrow go help us, right? If we get 2 down, maybe we don't get the shot with the arrow. And we got mine, we got Tana, we go you the better.
So, how many Ice Veil archers have they played this game? They played a couple, right?
They've been played. How many been
They've played all 3 of them.
Oh, really?
Oh, they have a crystal arrow as well. Yikes.
Yes! Arrow! And we
The sneaky dragon got him.
Now begins
Yeah.
a new era.
And this is something I've talked about before that I really wish they would do. Crystal Arrow is a card that needs to be face up in hand. It should show when it's on top of the deck, and it should show when it's in your hand.
Ultra one. Super powerful one.
Super powerful one.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. It's a powerful card. Like a card for all you 10 crystal arrows, okay? You need 10 crystal arrows.
We can only have 1. It's so strong we only need 1.
Strong, we need 1.
Um,
And we got another guy. That means we get 2 crystal arrows.
AK something I want here.
And we got 10.
I feel like I'm gonna mulligan these looking for some cheap frostbites. Ashe seems fine. Fiora also seems fine.
That means we gonna use the best crystal arrow, okay?
Okay.
Yeah, a bit powerful. Like the powerful move is the whole time wall.
Egghead blocks Valor profitably. Yeah.
Like combo, like we need to make it dagger.
Jacob,
It's a
chat wants to know if you like gummy candies.
I love gummy candy.
You love gummy candy? Believe it or not, the 6-year-old is not picky what type of sugar he consumes. This will come as a shock to many of you.
I need to tell you something, daddies.
What's up?
We need 10 crystal arrow combo. Why? So Mickey. Like, how to get 10 crystal arrow, and we need a green Mickey dragon.
Pozdor, thanks for the follow. Welcome to the stream. So I plan to share decks. I plan to play the Discord and put them in the deck queue. I might throw them in the deck queue. I don't know how formal I'm gonna be, Chef Seth. I might just be like a typical card game streamer and mostly wing it.
Daddy,
I don't know that I'm gonna do formal 90-minute segments.
come by your crystal arrow, and come by your Mickey dagger, and come by to a Mickey dragon. For arrow, again.
Crystal Arrow?
Okay, so come by the Mickey dragon and make an arrow. So total a crystal arrow to Mickey dragon, okay? And a battle shot.
I think we want to attack with Ashe here, which will frostbite this, then we probably single combat this to wipe it out.
Be a powerful card of the game.
And then, even if they have,
We gonna be easy.
well, Riposte could just completely savages us. It's technically a tempo even exchange, but them getting to keep their champions a big deal. I guess it's fine. I get to go Ice Veil, Fiora, single combat this next turn.
Why? Whoa, and one to white.
Some folks up.
White time.
Huh? Do I want a Yeti now?
I bet we need a Mickey dragon and we need a crystal arrow.
The opponent's deck doesn't have a ton. The opponent's deck doesn't have a ton.
Save your world.
The opponent's deck doesn't have a ton of reach in it. I'm gonna go ahead and play the Fiora out and just end up taking 8 here, I think.
It's the only chance we have, okay?
I don't intend to enable shillings betting.
But which chance we have? We got chances and chances. Okay?
Yeah, Magic has a new set releasing on Thursday, and we're going to play Jin.
Okay, so what if we guys? 2 crystal arrow. Like you got 2 guys, you crystal. Okay, so you 2 guys had crystal arrows.
I just think card game players don't need an excuse to make bad decisions with currency. They already have enough of that in their lives.
Powerful, but we need 2 crystal arrows and 1 Mickey dragon. So combine.
I also don't want people to enable getting the Shillionaire status off of random betting. I'd like Shillionaire status to be reserved for people that have actually watched the content a bunch, so it means something.
Whoa.
I feel like enabling the gambling aspect of it just takes away from it a lot. They're playing single combat. I was expecting Sharp Sight to potentially get us there and this not to die, but they're playing single combat in their build. Usually that sees playing like the Garen build sometimes, but not often in the Quinn build.
So building like a special building is like a combo, but different. But
Hopefully, Screeching Dragon's gonna be able to kill this here.
I'll kill a bear because he like baby dragon.
No, I don't really have strong opinions on specific types of candy.
Okay, so like keep that back pipe, but they back keep that mouth, but you. Yeah, I see. Okay.
If they have another Riposter or Sharp Sight here, we're probably just dead.
Oh.
Yeah, the Yeti is kind of a soft pass. In a way, it's so cheap.
The quiet of the woods. There's nothing like it.
So the Elm Heart would imply that they have a Ranger's Resolve here.
With the dragon.
And then they get to block here, and now neither of my things can block next turn. I couldn't really block anyways, right? Because this is gonna level.
Well,
Yeah, the single combat really blew us out here, and I don't think I'm supposed to play around that card. That's not a card that's super common in their archetype. So there's so many different combat tricks that their archetype can be playing that you just gotta skip some of them. Everything lined up well there. Padma, thanks for the follow. Welcome to the channel this afternoon. This is our first Zoe at least in a few hours.
wait, you lose again?
No, I just quit. I didn't want to play against them because their deck is no fun. Have some free LP opponent. Actually, I don't think they get LP when we concede that quickly, right? Have 30 seconds of your day wasted.
I want to put.
Yeah, I didn't want to trade. I mean, to be fair, that line would have also gotten blown out by Riposte, right? I guess we would have technically traded for Misfortune, but we would have lost our entire board to do it. I don't know. Like I said, I think playing around single combat is super wrong. In fact, I think it's just wrong to go back and make decisions differently based on the fact that they could have been playing Riposte, or based on the fact they could have been playing single combat.
If you can get the mini dragon, you gonna be.
Doesn't my deck do well against Lee Sin? Here's the reason why I think Lee Sin should be changed. Even when my decks beat Lee Sin, I find I personally do not enjoy the gameplay on average, and my life is short and I play games for fun. So if I'm not going to have fun even when I'm winning, I'm definitely just not going to bother.
So, the people have no fun.
By my honor, you must.
Sometimes people want to play decks that are no fun, yep. It's not their fault though. The people that design the deck should change them.
What?
Right.
What?
You gonna try and give Fiora the clap here, Nick?
That Mickey dragging up because Mickey, you can see the clouds. And you can see the big dragon, okay?
That's really good. I think we're just passing here now.
The dragon trade. We win. That means we win. Win.
Ooh, this is a really good draw.
Way bad.
He's an egghead researcher.
That egg can be
He researches dragon's eggs.
dragon eggs.
Yep.
Oh, we could use that up a quick like the Mickey dragon.
What is this?
That we use a quick arrow and we combine with the dragon.
They have Mystic Shot here. They could technically get in the way of this, but that guy pretty obligated to take this this attack. Yeah. We have Screeching Dragon next turn to be able to eat this inside of combat. It is a screeching dragon, yep. And look at, he's stealing the egg from the dragon.
Back. Okay, so dragon. A dragon eagle. That is not so ridiculous.
You suck.
We need a mini dragon. About 8 months ago. So that dragon, so our dragon, so that mini dragon get also you come up because it will.
So we're gonna take 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 here.
It's shark cannon. So we can find.
Oh, we need shark cannons. This is about where they play crowd favorite and we die. Then it didn't feel particularly close. Definitely think discard aggro is one of the better decks in the format, but remember, aggro is dead in this game and everything is dead.
Daddy. Okay, so after you're in a.
You should trust the data and not random opinions of people who have feels instead of reals.
Like a combo.
Okay, I love you, but you are very loud. I promise we'll play video games together after dinner tonight, okay? You're right, bud. Love you. Why does his voice get clipped sometimes? Because I have RTX voice enabled, which filters out background noise, but it's also incredibly sexist, and it filters out high-pitched voices. And he's a small child. He has a higher-pitched voice. The disconnect from tourney play and meta and ladder play meta. So here's the thing about that.
One star's whipsy is another spark.
And this is something that one of the reasons why the elitism around tournament to like the Runeterra doesn't really have tournament play currently. It has seasonal tournaments, which are great, and I'm glad they exist. But Runeterra doesn't have anything resembling consistent tournament play that can really have a metagame. What Runeterra has is, on occasion, there are smaller tournaments that similar people get invited to every week, or they're difficult to enter, so you have to jump through hoops on third-party websites to sign up for them, so they're not really accessible or easy to play in. And, like, those things exist, but they're not open enough, accessible enough to really generate a consistent tournament metagame. There's a fairly large number of community tournaments. How many people are in them?
They would fall.
And you have to sit there and sit through a bunch of different rounds. And you have to like jump through hoops and play them on a third-party website, right? So like all of those things make those tournaments less accessible, which makes them less likely to be representative of something consistently. That's like F&M. Do you stop it?
Took the bait.
And like, don't get me wrong, I want Runeterra to have more tournaments and develop a tournament scene. I just think it's stretching to consider what we currently have to be. But even that's largely based around bullshit, Obtuse Hobbit. Like, you're saying that their takes are influenced by this, but that's just saying that, like, they have one very specific piece of anecdotal data from this inbred metagame where probably the same 30 people show up most weeks. And, like, taking that to be representative of what things are as a whole is also nonsense.
The trap is set.
So, it kind of, like, explains a reason for why they have a bad take, I guess, but, like, doesn't change the fact at the end of the day that, like, the take's still bad. God, we're so good at drawing Yetis, chat. Yeah, that's the other thing. JD Scrub just articulated exactly what I was failing to do, and I couldn't find the words offhand to find it. But there's no MTG Goldfish-like site where you can look at a bunch of tournament lists from, so you can't really have a tournament metagame if there's not readily available data sources to like look at to grow that metagame from.
You're chasing stars from the sky.
So like in order to say, well, there's a tournament metagame and it's different, there's a tournament metagame and it's different without like having something to actually reference.
You're interested.
Sure, but little man, thanks for the 14 months. So at the end of the day, one of the biggest things that changed for me personally in the year 2020 and how everything went, and obviously card games aren't as intense as other world events, but I'm pretty over this person is wrong, and they're not maliciously wrong, but they're just unintentionally wrong because they don't understand what they're talking about. And like, yeah, that like from what it means about the person saying it at the end of the day, that's technically better, but like functionally when there's someone with a megaphone that's like spewing stuff that doesn't make sense based on the information that we have, the fact that they're spewing it based on ignorance versus based on being malicious, like, I don't really think that like that matters. At least to me personally at this point, I'm over letting that matter. Cithria is a good draw here. It was a bold pass from the opponent. You are not wrong. I says you're dead. The old behind on board by double-digit power pass. Yep, take the pass. Every time. Think they messed up? Yeah, I think when they're super behind on board like that, they can't afford to pass. I don't know. Maybe their hand is just a bunch of infinite mind splitters, and they didn't have anything to play there. It's hard to know exactly how big of a mistake it is without looking at their hand. One of the other things, and this is something that happened in Magic's modern format a lot, is I think Runeterra players often overstate the importance of the metagame. And what I mean by that is a lot of players, in an effort to sound really smart and act like there's these galaxy brain decisions that they're making, is like in a format like Runeterra has, where there's 24 different decks you could play against at any given point in any rank, is like the idea that like you can metagame super efficiently is kind of nonsense. Like, when the most popular deck, you could go 12 matches without playing against it, you can't really, like, super well position yourself like that, right? You just need to play decks that just, like, have cohesive game plans that you can play well. And this idea that there's like this ladder metagame versus this tournament metagame, when one, there's no repository of tournament information. So outside of like metagaming the 7 other people that always show up who you know they play a specific style of decks, because that's the type of players that they are, in anything that's relatively open and has a decent number of people playing, you just can't predict what you're going to play against. The more diverse deck building is, the less relevant a metagame is. Yeah, it's a good way to put it. This will be a nice 1-2 here. What made me decide to revisit Magic? I enjoy having a place to live and being able to eat. I've grown accustomed to these things. They could have Thermo Beam or Mystic Shot here to kill Fleet Feather Tracker.
Leaping into action.
That's exchange seems great for us. Yeah, I think it's good. There's a lot of actual good designs in the Chaldeum set. Hopefully we can have some enjoyable games. We get to go Dorko into Ashe here, which sounds lovely. Honestly, it could have been right to take that pass there. Getting the Yeti into our deck has a lot of appeal, though, too.
I will unite the Freljord.
Can't tell if this is good for us or bad for us. I feel like based on the number of threats we have remaining, this is probably bad for us. Opponent's deck has cards like Twisted Fate and Pick a Card to generate card advantage as the game goes along too, so really need to draw more threats here. Our next card should be a Yeti, right?
Faster than my arrow? I think not.
There's that Pick a Card. Yeah, so there's selection bias in most metagames when there's no clear dominance. That's a really good way to articulate my point. Am I playing this? I think I'm playing this, right? Because I still have Riposte plus Sharpsight mana up here. So I can protect my things from their interaction, and I want to push more damage this turn.
Deal me in. I'm a people person.
I think she frostbites this. She does. That's annoying. I think I have to kill the Twisted Fate still. As much as I want to try and save this, if I brittle steal this and then they go to shoot my thing in response, I could just lose, so. Interesting that they would do that there instead of waiting until next turn. Oh, they were fleeting. Got it.
Hey, Tap.
Right.
Need a hand? Can't say no to Fizz.
Locked and ready.
We potentially have lethal next turn.
Nice!
I think it's random. I'm actually not sure, Jason. No, actually, it's not random. I think. Oh, it's number of keywords. I think it's number of keywords. It might also be left to right. I'm gonna be honest. I don't know. It's either keywords or left to right.
Show me a target.
Attempt to lethal you.
Barbarossa, go!
And drawing Riposte there is great, because it means if they have one piece of damage-based removal, I get to kill them through that. Ashe's pseudo combo finish there, coming in clutch for us.
Now begins a new era of peace.
Was right to left every time for me, but it may be wrong. Yeah, it could just be observational sample too. I think half an hour. No, that's not true. We're gonna play one more game. We've been on this one for almost 90 minutes. I'm gonna do one more with Ashe Fiora, and then we're gonna play. We're gonna play some PlayStation. Now we're not gonna get to top 100 because I don't play against Lee Sin. We were over. What was our peak today? We peaked over 200 LP. I am doing a longer than usual Runeterra stream today because we had a much higher. We've tapered off a little bit now, back down towards my average, but our viewer count, we peaked at almost 1,000 people today. We're still at like 750 people when we finished the last deck, so I decided to do one more. I think I just open attacks here, because if I play this and then they play Elise, I no longer have a good attack. Nah, if we were a tryhard Runeterra stream, I wouldn't be conceding to Lee Sin. I'd be making myself be miserable and play against it. I don't plan to sit on LP. Do you expect the balance patch to gut Targon? No. I think a lot of the issues with Targon right now are more related to Lee Sin and Fiora than they are to Targon itself. The big part of why Targon is so popular is because the polarizing decks in Runeterra are largely only answered by Targon cards.
I will unite the Freljord. As the arrow flies.
Oh God.
Seems like a good turn for us. Nice. These two together are real rude. It's like, let me frostbite something for Fiora to eat for free every turn.
Tread carefully.
Yeah, we talked about that a little bit. For the record, just to make my position abundantly clear, I think you could justify making changes to Hush the same way you would justify making changes to Lee Sin and Fiora. I think the play patterns Hush generates frequently feel bad to play against. And I think that there's merit to adjusting it based on how it feels to play against, because games should be fun. That being said, if you only adjust Hush, I think you're making a big mistake, and it shows a misunderstanding of what's actually going on in the format. So I think only changing Hush would be an incredible mistake.
The time is right. Strike now.
Too easy.
Yeah, this deck that we're playing is super reasonable. We're gonna do a wrap-up section talking about it in half a second here, but definitely feels like the idea has legs. If I just go to 4 here, we risk getting railed by Doombeast. Probably supposed to trade with at least this, huh? I guess I could do this and freeze it.
The time is right. Strike now.
That's probably what we're supposed to do. Let's do that. And this is technically wins the game on Elise at any point. Yeah, sweet.
A new Freljord will rise.
I liked what this deck was doing a lot. Like I mentioned in the deck tech, from a theory perspective, this thing has a lot of good things going on. One observation from the person that submitted the deck, Violet, that I thought was really insightful was on both Trapper and Egghead Researcher. So both Fiora and Ashe are cards that kind of demand you play with a lot of spells in your deck, which makes cards like Trapper and Egghead that are bodies that generate more bodies extra valuable. So from that perspective, both of these cards are excellent. They're just good cards in general too. I feel like my one primary thought was that I would like 1 or 2 more cheaper cards that I can hit consistently while mulliganing. I think Rhymetusk Shaman is probably the easiest cut. I don't know what else I would trim to drag the curve down a touch. Maybe it's getting rid of a Brittle Steel or a Flash Freeze or a Harsh Winds even, but I felt like the games where I was at my worst were the ones where I didn't have a play to make until turn 4. Like I'd full mulligan a hand with no 1, 2, or 3 drop in it, and I'd get another hand without a 1, 2, or 3 drop in it. And in a lot of ways, Ice Veil Archer isn't a card that we often want to play on 2. So I don't really like Starlit Seer. This deck doesn't really churn through enough cards to make Starlit Seer hit consistently, even if it does have a number of spells in it. Some people are saying Omen Hawk. I could see that. I don't know. I kind of feel like I want something that can trade in combat. Okay, though, my instinct says I would like to see either Sentry or Brightsteel Protector. Protector is excellent curving off of Fleet Feather Tracker, but it's also kind of a card like Ice Veil Archer where you don't really want to play it out on 2 a lot of the time. You often want to try and save it to get more value. So I feel like Sentry would be the card I would want to play. Like, this is a card that is just like, it's always fine, right? Like, it often trades in combat with something. It replaces itself. It helps you find more cards afterwards. You're literally never upset to play it out in the second turn of the game. And I think just like having another card like Egghead or Fleet Feather where it's just like basically always right to play it out as soon as possible is what I would be looking for. So fitting 2 to 3 of this in here is probably what I would want to look to do for sure. I don't know exactly what the cuts are. I'll have to think about it, but that's definitely what I would be looking to do. All right, at any rate, that's going to wrap up on Runeterra stuff for the day for me. If you're new to the channel, thanks for dropping in. Be sure to check out my YouTube channels as well. I have one that highlights a different sweet off-meta deck every single day of the week. I tend to play 3 to 4 different constructed decks here every single day, so if you want to see what are the best of the things that I play, that's a great, concise way to find them. And then also youtube.com/Jeff Hoagland archives absolutely everything that I stream, so if you want to shift through all of those decks that I play and decide for yourself what looks the best, that's the best place to do that.